any family anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, clearly close to where I live. I live just south of here. You have Mayor Randy Henderson cares about this community. The Sheriff Scott cares about this community. Chief Eads shares this community, I care for this community. You have wonderful law enforcement. The first thing we have to do is thank our law enforcement. If it wasn't for our law enforcement, we would have had more tragedy. The 2 individuals that lost their life, the 20 individuals injured, you know, your heart goes out to them. My wife and I pray for these families, the 2 families that lost their loved ones, the 20 that are injured. We have the Attorney General's here, also is going to be speaking. She also, I know, is somebody that cares. We've traveled the state together, and she's somebody that cares about this community. We're blessed in the state that we're at a 45-year low in our crime rate. That's a blessing. But every family we care about. We don't want this to happen to anybody at all in our state. There's great coordination between federal agencies that are here, state agencies, and local agencies. The state will provide whatever resources we can, and we'll continue to work with this community after this. The goal would be this never happens again. Nobody wants to see this happen clearly in your community, in your state, but anywhere in our nation. This state believes in justice. So those that have been involved in this, they will clearly be held accountable. We believe in accountability. That's the reason we're at a 45-year low in our crime rate. So we clearly believe in accountability. So our heart goes out to everybody impacted by this. The state's going to do everything they can to be helpful. I also want to thank Lee Memorial Hospital. This community is blessed with great hospitals. Lee Memorial does a great job and has taken care of these victims and is continuing to do a good job with those still in the hospital. So I want to thank everybody for being here, and now I'm going to turn it over to the Attorney General.
Governor, thank you for your unwavering support that everyone in the state's having to deal with lately, and especially the families of the 2 teens who are deceased. It's truly heartbreaking. We are here today. My office's function is to help the family members of the 2 young men who lost their lives. We will be able to help them pay for funeral expenses, as well as anyone out there who is injured. If you want to seek counseling, even if there are lost wages, anything, if you were injured in this event, in this horrible tragedy, we are here to help you. So please contact the police chief's office. We're here to offer counseling, lost wages, and any services that we can do, any medical bills that are not covered. We're here to help you, and we will continue to be. And once again, what you're seeing standing behind me is teamwork. State, local, federal agencies all working hand in hand to do the best we can to protect people. Thank you very much. It's now my honor to introduce Mayor Henderson.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi. Well, good afternoon, everyone. In a more ordinary course of a mayor's duty throughout the day, I would be fully engaged with you, the media, on matters that are involving the city and the public domain. Many of you have reached out to me today, if not once, multiple times. I would like to ask for your patience in working with my office to continue to get information out to you. We'll do that as efficiently as possible, but we want to, by all means, make sure that it's accurate and factual. I need to take a moment and express my deep appreciation to the Governor's office, to Senator Benaquisto, for reaching out to me early today. I was awakened at approximately 1:36 a.m. this morning from a call from a citizen from Fort Myers who was visiting Atlanta, Georgia, to announce to me that her niece had been injured in fire in right here in Fort Myers at Club Blu. My wife and I, of course, began to move around the house to try to make a plan for moving through the day. My next conversation was with Chief Eads. Interim Chief Eads was on the scene and communicating with me. He was also communicating, I think I should hasten to say, with newly appointed Chief Darrell Diggs, who's transitioning from Toledo back to Fort Myers, and was engaged with Chief Eads and, of course, other staff here in Fort Myers in working through this challenge. I want to thank Councilman Banks and Teresa Watkins Brown for being here and for working with me and the rest of the council. This is what every mayor and council hopes never happens in their city. This morning we had an early morning meeting at 9 a.m. that began with the news of this, and some deep emotions were felt at that meeting, and we continue to go throughout the day grieving. Our concerns for our citizens who were lost, Governor Scott has referenced them, and for those who were injured is heartbreaking to myself, Jenny, and of course the council, all of us who are involved in trying to do our best to make sure citizens are safe. I want to wrap up my remarks by saying that we will continue to work through this. For those of you who have reached out to me, we'll try to get to you later in the day. It's going to be a very busy afternoon. I want to express my appreciation to Sarah Owens from the Southwest Florida Community Foundation, who coalesced around this with me early this morning to come to the aid of all citizens and myself and the council. We've established a fund in response to this morning's shootings, and the Southwest Florida Community Foundation has partnered with the City of Fort Myers, the United Way of Lee County, Cliff and that group, Charlotte County, Glades, Okeechobee counties to open, ladies and gentlemen, Together Fort Myers Fund. This is to assist the victims, families, and those affected by this tragedy. We will continue those efforts after this conference to make sure that we are reaching those who need it. And finally, I want to express my appreciation for Dr. Greg Atkins, who is here to address you. This is concerning his students in the public school system, and it's my pleasure to invite him to the podium at this time. Dr. Atkins. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It is with great sadness that I woke up this morning to the news that 2 of our students were tragically killed, Sean Achilles and Stefan Strotter. In addition to that, we've learned that a number of our other students are injured, being treated as we speak. I want to send my condolences out to the families of those that we've lost, and also those that are still being cared for in Lee Memorial. I would like to truly encourage us as a community to come together around this particular incident. Too often in my short tenure as a superintendent, we've had to address loss, unnecessary loss in our community that impacts our students and also our families. I want to say that I appreciate the governor has joined us here in the community, Attorney General, and I look forward to working with Fort Myers Police Department, the Mayor's Office, and the Sheriff's Department to really make sure that we can end really senseless violence in Lee County. I want to tell you that the school district is poised to help the families and the students that were impacted by this tragedy. We've called for counselors and others to help assist our students through this very difficult time. And again, I just want to appreciate the support that we have received from the city and the county on this very, very difficult day. Thank you.
Yeah, let me just introduce Chief Eads at this time, who's going to address the law enforcement matters, and take this opportunity to express my appreciation for the joint efforts from Lee County Sheriff's Office, FBI, and others who are here to support Chief Eads. Chief Eads?
Thank you. Good afternoon. The first thing I want to do is just get rid of any thought. This was not an act of terror. This was not a terrorist act. So if you've seen that, heard that, read that, whatever it is, you can put that out of your minds. What did happen and what I'm going to go over with is the investigative part. It's an active investigation. I'm going to be answering no questions regarding it. I'm sure there's things that have happened since I've been in here that I'm not even aware of, and I won't know until I get out of here. So we'll keep it at that. I'll put it out. If you need clarification, we can clarify things, and we can do that through email at some point. The location that took place was called Club Blu. It's located at 3580 Evans Avenue in Fort Myers. It was approximately 12:38 a.m. We had reports of gunshots being fired, with subjects were struck and down in a parking lot. Officers responded. They got there really quickly. There was also members of the Lee County Sheriff's Office that responded and assisted. I'm very proud of all that responded to the scene. It was very chaotic. It was still very active. No one really knew what was going on, what happened. And the officers and deputies immediately started triage for some of the injured individuals. We carry trauma kits inside the vehicles, and they started trying to help patch the individuals up, get tourniquets on, to get them ready for transport as quickly as possible. Some of the injured parties actually drove themselves to the hospital or made it there by other means. The rest were transported by Lee County EMS. We had individuals show up at Cape Coral Hospital, Lee Memorial Hospital, Naples Hospital, and I believe Health Park, and possibly even Gulf Coast. So there were a lot of folks went a lot of different directions. As you can understand, this was a huge undertaking for these hospitals with a influx of individuals with gunshot wounds at that point. Unfortunately, 2 of the victims have deceased, and I would like, on the behalf of law enforcement, offer condolences to the families of those individuals. We are currently working closely with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Lee County Sheriff's Office, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Everyone has playing a little bit of a different role. There's a lot of hours, investigative hours going into this, but I remain very resolved that justice will be served. I will tell you we have 3 persons of interest in custody. I'm not going to go into that, who they are, and we're still looking for others. And hopefully we'll have something positive to report on that in the very near future. And again, like I said, I couldn't be more proud of our law enforcement partners for coming together. The governor's office, I mean, I got calls while I was still en route wanting to know what they could do. So that was absolutely very much appreciated and phenomenal. All right, thank you.
So, as the chief said, this is an ongoing investigation. The investigation is being led by the Fort Myers Police with support from the sheriff, federal and state agencies. Everybody's coordinating their activities. As the chief said, they don't believe there's any chance this is tied to terrorism. But if you have any other questions, I'll be glad to answer it, but the chief will be putting out more information as he has it.
Governor's got 3 mass shootings now in Florida in the past year, ZombieCon, Orlando, and this, at least that are very public. Are you concerned about our state getting a reputation as being unsafe?
Sure. Well, here's the positive. The positive is we have great law enforcement. We have great law enforcement all across our state. And there's great coordination between the locals, our police departments, our sheriff's departments, the state and the federal agencies. You can feel very good that people work together well here. The positive is we're at a 45-year low in our crime rate. The negatives, you can't imagine this happening to any person in your state. I don't want this to happen to anybody in my state. You think about the 20 million people that live here, the 100 and probably 10 to 150 million people that are going to visit here. You want everybody to be safe. I can tell you law enforcement is going to do everything they can. So this is a time to mourn for these families. Any family never wakes up expecting to lose loved ones, especially young individuals like this. Nobody expects somebody to be injured, going to an event where it was supposed to be teenagers having a good time.
Governor, after the Orlando incident, you were adamant about it being a terrorism problem, not a gun control problem, but when you see the circumstances, it looks like happens here. Does that become more concerning about gun control and certain types of weapons?
So I support the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment has never shot anybody. The evil does this. We have to all work together. If you see something, you need to say something. You need to be very supportive of your law enforcement. You need to be very appreciative that law enforcement is willing to show up. But every one of us has to do their job. If you see something, you got to say something. We're going to have to continue to work together to make sure everybody in our state is safe. Every family wants to be safe. Everybody wants to live in a safe neighborhood. But all of us have to work to make that happen.
Governor, what more can be done to make it safe and prevent these kinds of tragedies?
I think first thing, if you see something, you need to call law enforcement. I can tell you, you look at the law enforcement standing up here, but law enforcement all across the state, and I can say that from the state, the locals, and the federal, they want to do the right thing. They want to take care, they want everybody to be safe. But we all have to support them. We all have to, if we see something, we have to call and tell them. And then when something like this happens, we need to come together. We need to mourn for these families. Not one of us can imagine losing, a young person like this.
Governor, you say that there's a 45-year low for crime here. Now, we've had 2 large mass shootings, June and July. Is there concern at this point about the number of guns that are out there?
Well, look, I want everybody to be safe. I think everybody, I've not met anybody that didn't want everybody to be safe. So we're going to do everything we can, but every citizen in the state's got to show up. If you see something, it's part of your responsibility to call law enforcement and tell them.
Crime an ongoing issue at Club Blu, and why was the liquor license revoked, if anybody knows?
Somebody will get back to you. I don't know. I clearly don't know that answer that question.
We spoke to some of Stefan's friends, and he said his 20-year-old kid plays basketball. He says he does not feel safe going outside anymore. He doesn't go out. He keeps his little brother from going out. What do you say to those kids who are now so scared because of whether it's being targeted by violence on the streets or other circumstances? What do you say to them?
Well, I want everybody to be safe, but it takes everybody working together. It starts with support your law enforcement, talk to them, build a relationship with them. My experience with law enforcement around the state, and that's at every level, they're going to work every day to build relationships, but everybody's got to work with them. If you see something, you got to call and tell them. They will do an investigation.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Chief, can we ask you a couple more questions not related to the investigation? How many people were in the club? You have an estimate?
Is the club an ongoing issue for you guys?
Do we think this is gang related?